8GB of VRAM, an agreed upon minimum for any kind of modern gaming. Considering this fact, how bad was NVIDIA's first attempt at an 8GB GPU? Well, NVIDIA's first purely consumer 8GB GPU was the GTX 1070 released in 2016. But the first ever 8GB NVIDIA GPU, period, even if it wasn't for consumers, was the legendary Quadro K5200 that I picked up for just $50. And for $50, how good is it? Well, let's take a look at the specs. So, what is this NVIDIA Quadro K5200 packing? Well, in terms of VRAM, it's got that 8GB of GDDR5 VRAM running through 256-bit memory bus. It's the first ever 8GB NVIDIA card. It consumes 150 watts maximum, although it hovers around 120 to 130 watts in gaming loads. In terms of its core specs, it has 2,304 CUDA cores, 192 TMUs, and 48 ROPs. It's based on the Kepler architecture using the 28nm process. It supports DirectX 12 feature level 11.1, which is more than other Kepler cards as they only support 11.0, OpenGL 4.6, latest version, and partial Vulkan support being 1.2.175. In terms of its clock speeds, it runs at 875 MHz on the core and 3700 MHz on the memory. It runs through PCIe Gen 3x16 interface, and the specific model we have today is the HP NVIDIA Founders Edition model, which, yeah, there are a few non-blower versions of this card, but good luck on finding those as well. This was designed to be a workstation card. It's definitely going to be a blower card. But yeah, anyways guys, let's get on with the game benchmark, shall we, as you guys are here to see if the first ever NVIDIA 8GB card can game in 2026. Starting off with BeamNG drive. At 1080p ultra settings, the Quadro K5200 averaged 47 FPS with 39 FPS 1% lows. This ended up being one of the strongest results for the card, which wasn't too surprising since BeamNG has always ran well on NVIDIA's Kepler architecture. The huge 8GB frame buffer was actually useful here, especially when driving around larger maps where VRAM usage climbed much higher than expected. Unlike many older cards, the K5200 never ran into memory limitations. The biggest thing holding back performance wasn't the hardware itself, but the relatively low clock speeds and lack of easy overclocking on this workstation card. If I could push the core clock higher, maybe another couple hundred megahertz, I genuinely think that this card would average over 50 FPS. Even without that, lowering the settings to high or simply dropping the resolution to 900p would easily produce a locked 60 FPS experience. Overall, BeamNG proves that the K5200 still has plenty of life left in it when paired with a game that favors Kepler. Counter-Strike 2 was honestly one of the biggest surprises of the entire benchmark lineup. Running at 1080p low with 2x MSAA, the Quadro K5200 delivered an impressive 138 FPS average with 104 FPS 1% lows. Gameplay felt extremely responsive and would be perfectly suitable for competitive play. Simply disabling MSAA would likely push the average beyond 150 FPS, which is incredible for a workstation GPU from 2014. In fact, at these frame rates, many systems would become CPU bottlenecked long before the K5200 reached its limit. Kepler performs much better in Source 2 than I expected, showing that NVIDIA's older architecture still has plenty of raw rasterization performance. While CS2 doesn't come close to needing all 8GB of VRAM, having that much memory certainly doesn't hurt, especially if future updates become more demanding. If all you play are competitive esports titles, the Quadro K5200 is far more capable than its age would suggest. Pretty impressive stuff. On to the next benchmark. Doom Eternal ended up being one of the more frustrating games to test because the results clearly point towards software limitations rather than hardware limitations. At 1080p Ultra, the Quadro K5200 averaged 33 FPS with 17 FPS 1% lows. But the strange part is that lowering the settings all the way down to 720p with the low settings selected barely changed performance at all. Normally, reducing both resolution and graphics quality should produce a massive performance increase, but that simply didn't happen here. This strongly suggests that the outdated Kepler Quadro drivers are holding the card back rather than the GPU itself. The 8GB of VRAM certainly wasn't the issue, and the card never appeared to struggle with memory usage. Looking at how incredibly optimized ID Software's engine is on newer NVIDIA hardware, I honestly believe that the K5200 could have delivered well over 100 FPS at 1080p Ultra if Kepler, well specifically the Quadro Kepler series, had continued receiving modern driver optimizations. It's still playable enough if you're willing to accept around 30 FPS, but this benchmark is the clearest example of how discontinued driver support can significantly limit otherwise capable hardware. Pretty disappointing overall. On to the next benchmark. GTA 5 Legacy continues to prove why it's one of the best optimized PC games ever made. Running at 1440p with the very high settings selected, so basically the max, the Quadro K5200 averaged 57 FPS with 43 FPS 1% lows, making for an incredibly smooth experience considering this GPU launched all the way back in 2014. Technically, the game did launch in 2013 and the PC port did come out in 2015, but whatever, okay? This was technically last gen when the game launched. Kepler has always performed well in GTA 5, and those optimizations are still paying off today. The massive 8GB frame buffer is complete overkill here since the game doesn't come close to using that much memory. It uses around 4 gigs with the max settings, but it certainly ensures that there are no VRAM related issues. I wouldn't recommend playing the newer GTA 5 enhanced version because it relies on DirectX 12 features that Kepler simply doesn't support. The legacy version, however, runs beautifully, and lowering the resolution to 1080p would almost certainly push frame rates comfortably above 100 FPS. This benchmark really highlights just how powerful the K5200 was when originally launched. Wreckfest was another game that really impressed me. At 1440p with the ultra settings, the Quadro K5200 managed 38 FPS on average with 1% lows of 27 FPS. Unlike many of the other games tested, Wreckfest actually made excellent use of the K5200's huge memory capacity, consuming between 6 and 7 GB of VRAM throughout gameplay. That's actually one of the few situations where having 8 gigs on a 2014 graphics card actually becomes a real advantage. Under a heavy workload, the GPU stayed remarkably cool and quiet, showing the excellent build quality these workstation cards were designed with. Lowering the resolution to 1080p would almost certainly push performance beyond 60 FPS, while maintaining the ultra settings. Considering this is a relatively modern AA game running on a 12-year-old Kepler GPU, I'd call these results genuinely impressive. And honestly, I didn't even expect Wreckfest to be running at 1440p, let alone with the ultra settings. Pretty impressive stuff here. On to the next benchmark. Skyrim Special Edition was tested at 1440p Ultra, producing an average of 42 FPS with 30 FPS 1% lows. There was definitely some noticeable stuttering during gameplay, but I don't believe the graphics card is to blame here. Bethesda's engine has always struggled with frame pacing and occasional hitching regardless of how powerful your hardware is. Well, that is, if you don't make it to the 60 FPS cap, then it's going to constantly stutter. VRAM usage barely scratched the surface of the available 8 gigs, making the K5200's memory capacity complete overkill, considering that most graphics cards around Skyrim SE's era release, which is around 2016, well technically this does have the anniversary patches as well, but they are more demanding in terms of VRAM than the original Special Edition is, had only around 2 gigs. If you lower the resolution to 1080p, I think the game would easily deliver locked and smooth 60 FPS while eliminating most of the stuttering. It's honestly remarkable that a workstation GPU released in 2014 can still play a much newer version of Skyrim SE at 1440p Ultra with very respectable performance. On to the next benchmark. Fallout 4 produced almost identical results to Skyrim SE, averaging 42 FPS with 28 FPS 1% lows at 1440p with the ultra setting selected. Once again, there was some noticeable stuttering, but just like Skyrim SE, that's largely due to Bethesda's aging creation engine, rather than any limitation of the Quadro K5200 itself. The game used only around 2 gigs of VRAM despite running at the beautiful ultra settings, making the card's enormous 8 gig frame buffer far more than Fallout 4 could ever realistically need. Lowering the resolution to 1080p should provide a locked and consistent 60 FPS experience, with very little compromise in image quality. What's particularly impressive is that Fallout 4 even received updated graphics in 2024, yet this 12-year-old workstation GPU is still capable of delivering a very enjoyable experience. That really speaks to just how overbuilt the K5200 was when it first launched. Yeah, 8GB of RAM back then, 8GB of VRAM rather, was insanely impressive back then. On to the next benchmark. Minecraft was tested at 1440p using Solar's extreme shaders, fancy settings, and a 12 chunk render distance. The Quadro K5200 averaged 41 FPS with 33 FPS 1% lows, and the results were honestly better than I expected. Even with demanding shaders enabled at 1440p, the GPU never seemed particularly stressed. Temperatures stayed low, fan noise remained minimal, and the GPU's utilization wasn't even reaching 100% most of the time, suggesting that the outdated drivers were preventing the hardware from being fully utilized. The 8 gigs of VRAM wasn't really necessary for this test, but if you're someone who uses Distant Horizons or massive renders mods, that extra memory could become genuinely useful, and also could be useful for 128x texture packs. The upcoming Vulkan renderer for Minecraft could potentially improve performance, although Kepler's Vulkan support has never been particularly strong, so it's difficult to predict how much of an improvement there will be. Regardless, this is another game where the K5200 performed surprisingly well considering its age and the demanding shaders being used. On to the next benchmark. Finally, we have Cyberpunk 2077 running at 1080p with the lowest settings. The Quadro K5200 averaged just 32 FPS with 26 FPS 1% less, which honestly isn't that bad if you think about it, considering this is one of the most demanding games available today. Yeah, you gotta remember, even though this is technically a 6-year-old game, it got a complete overhaul in terms of its lighting and graphics in 2024. Just like Doom Eternal though, it's obvious that Kepler suffers from a lack of modern driver optimizations. The hardware itself doesn't appear to be a limiting factor, and I suspect that the card could perform significantly better with newer drivers. Thankfully, VRAM was never an issue thanks to that massive 8GB frame buffer. Lowering the resolution to 720p or enabling FSR on the quality preset should realistically push performance to the 40 to 50 FPS range, making for a much smoother experience. If this card could also be overclocked, I think it would gain even more performance. While nobody's buying a Quadro K5200 specifically to play Cyberpunk, it's honestly impressive that a 12-year-old workstation GPU can still provide playable frame rates in such a demanding modern title like Cyberpunk. So, in conclusion, how well does the Quadro K5200 perform? Well, it actually holds up pretty well in a lot of modern games that can actually launch on it, thanks to its insane, for the time anyways, 8GB of VRAM. Wow, kinda crazy to think how a 5060, which I actually bought, came with the same amount of VRAM as a 2014 workstation card. Man, it wasn't even the highest workstation card of its era. The highest end workstation card was the K6000, and that came with 12 gigs of VRAM, which, mind-blowing. In my opinion, if NVIDIA actually kept support up for these older Kepler GPUs, they would perform much better in today's titles, especially in games like Doom Eternal and Cyberpunk where, yeah, they definitely really like having good drivers, and this Kepler GPU just lacks them. But overall, it's actually not half bad for the $50 I paid for it. You could do a lot worse. But you could also get a 4GB RX 480 or 580, and that any of those would easily outperform this old Quadro. But still though, not half bad. But yeah guys, anyways guys, thank you guys for watching today's video. Remember to like, subscribe, join the Discord server, link in the description, join the membership, and see you in the next one.